right, hello everyone. This is Timotheus Gordon speaking, also known as TJ Gordon, and welcome to the Building Intersectional Disability Communities Through Art and Conversation post-event series, where we interview a few of the featured artists that either share their work and talked about their work the last 3 weeks or hosted workshops related to topics like remembering people that we lost in the disability community, or sharing your intersectional identities, especially when it comes to race, um, gender, sexuality, and disability, or celebrating your identities and the freedom that comes with it. And so today we have this dope artist. She's also a healer as well and an entrepreneur. We have with us Safiya, and she was the person hosted a workshop 2 Saturdays ago. No, actually 3 Saturdays ago. My apologies. During the topic for the first week, which was remembering people that we lost in the disability community. So, welcome.
What's up? What's up? It's good people. It's fire, bringing that fire to ya. Yeah, so I'm excited to be in conversation and to talk about this because when we talking about disability or intersectionality of just who we are, because if anytime I'm writing something or filling out an application say I'm a member of the African diaspora, I'm a woman and a person living with a disability, because I feel like those three different create three different totally different obstacles for me to live in this society, just to live a normal life. And there's a
Mhm.
lot of contradiction going on in all the communities, and one identity conflicts with the other one. So yeah, so I'm just here happy to talk about it.
Absolutely. Speaking of contradiction, you did bring up the point of how you can have many identities going on at once, whether you could be cis person or trans or queer or have a disability, all those different things. But then while all these identities could work together as one, you may also have identities like you mentioned where it conflicts with each other, and some people may not even take one or more identities. So can you would you like to talk more about how your many identities conflict sometimes, but also how do you use your identities to not only empower yourself but also others as well?
Okay, good question. But first, I want to, because you put cisgender. Me personally, I don't like that word, and I understand why it's present for the trans community. But I'm a natural woman. I'm a woman, so I just go because I just feel like because I this again too talking about when different identities it conflicts with another one with each other, and I respect trans women for who they are, but I feel like I shouldn't have to change my label just to satisfy your needs so you can feel accepted, because I have challenges that I need to overcome, and it's just I'm not finna it's it's a part of the thing where I'm learning to put myself first and not putting other people's needs before my own. So I just want to start with that. But
my apologies on that, by
no,
the
you
way.
good, you good. Like people don't know, and this is all part of having a conversation. Cause that's why I think, because that's another problem I have with the cancel culture. Like some things people do is like they need to be canceled, but for other things, little things, it only takes a conversation. It don't take us barking down each other's necks. It's just a conversation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but just getting back to like where mainly like my identity of like being, I think I want to talk about first about how my identity with like being black, and then you add on like the disability and being a woman, and how it coincides with that. Cause it's like a lot of times when we talk about being black, black empowerment, it's kind of like it only focus on like black men, and
Mm.
like people with disability and women aren't really included in those conversations, because like when like black women are talking about feminists, and you have like, well, that's going against like black men or what it means to be black. I'm like, what the fuck you mean? Not only like I'm like, because I think, because it's not talking about all the challenges that black women go through, like the domestic violence, black women coming up missing, all the challenges. And a lot of times when we talk about being black and justice, a lot of times that's not talked about, like all the black women that get killed by policemen.
And also, to add on, Black women who experience getting exploited in their jobs through families or their neighborhoods because of their bodies and their disability on top of that,
Yeah.
and the fact that they're Black women. I just want to say personally, as a male, I respect you all so much. I don't know how you all could go through all the barriers. And we talk about Black men and what, but definitely hats off to especially Black disabled women. I just wish that we in a we come to a place where we respect all facades of Blackness, not just Black heterosexual
Mm-hmm.
males only, but also everything Blackness, especially in our case, disability, but in your case, also being a woman.
Yeah. And then I also want to talk about what the whole what the Black Lives Matter, because like I read a lot of comments that like black people who have disabilities, they want to go to the march, and then they said some people from Black Lives Matter said like, you try to make this about disability, and again, fuck you mean, like because a lot of time like our community is pushed so far back on understanding what disability is and accommodations, and then I'm like, how can we want like as black people want like our freedom or want equality from white supremacy when we are oppressing other people in our community that don't meet the norms or ableist norms.
Mm-hmm.
So like and I think and about, because like I'm not gonna lie, like because like early on, like when, because I wasn't born with a disability, but I encountered when I was 13, and when I work out, I was trying my best to be like able-bodied people or normal black people, and I didn't fit in, and it caused me a lot of like heartache, a lot of suicidal thoughts, and all that stuff.
Mm.
And it wasn't until like I started embracing my disability and I started getting involved with the disability community, and I found that like, oh, I'm not being tolerated, I'm being like embraced, we on, and there's understanding, and I don't have to shape shift and go back and forth from one identity to the other, and I can just be my full self.
Yes, especially I think to add on to being your full self, but also being true to yourself. Because without embracing your whole self, no matter how many identities you have, then you pretty much, I think you talked about it already, try to fit in. I think
Mhm.
we will continue to just try to fit in, which is going to eventually continue to hurt us
Yeah.
because because at the end of the day, if we try to fit in, then we will still fall into the ableist, the racist, the sexist thing just to satisfy essentially white supremacy.
Right. And I think a lot of time what we be trying to fit in because like this the black community isn't aware about disability, about accessibility, about inclusion, all this good stuff. And a lot of time it starts with our family because like I know like I had so much challenging because like I'm real sensitive to sound and the and
Mm,
like and heat and the cold and stuff. And when I ask for simple things, they look at me like I'm crazy or I'm stupid and they treat me that way. And I'm like, and it's kind of like you take on the energy of other people and it's like you gotta break through all of this stuff. Like I'm not that, I'm so much more. I'm powerful. I'm bold in my identity. And I can't let other people, what other people think about me, like dictate who I am at the core.
I agree with you 100%. And going back to when you mentioned how, you're sensitive to heat, the cold, and certain things, which on a side note, I'm also have sensitivities too. I'm sensitive to popping sounds, so balloons or gunshots or firecrackers at close range. I could sometimes be sensitive to like too much heat during the summer and even like lots of sweat and
Mm.
bug bites. So I understand the sensitivity thing and the fact that we fight to get accommodations, but even in our own community, they pretty much say, suck it up.
Exactly. And I just want to mention like Leroy Moore because I learned so much from like his post. And then when he even talk about like it goes all the way back to like when our ancestors was enslaved. And
Mm-hmm.
just for the fact that it's not talked about like way into the 1960s, I think some of our people were still enslaved that had disabilities. And even at the Juneteenth, like the our enslaved ancestors that had disabilities was still enslaved.
And to this day, whether it's being enslaved through institutions or enslaved in jail, it's it just amazes me how even with the ADA and even with Juneteenth, our Black disability community is still not entirely free, partly because of white supremacy, but also because of the ableism of our own community.
Yeah. So like I just want to shout out anybody check out any Leroy Moore like books and articles because he talk a lot about the history and with that and because I learned a lot from him and I'm
So that
appreciative for the work he does.
Yeah, so do I. He's my boy. I call him Uncle Leroy. I actually met him a couple of times. I actually met him through doing a panel together a few years ago at UIC about police violence and the fact that we were bouncing off each other's ideas and speaking about not only our personal experience, but also addressing the police violence, but also using art to express what's going on in our communities. He's a treasure to our community that should be kept and giving more value that people are giving them right now. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the shout out to him, and I'm sure if he see this, he'll love it too.
Yeah, and then I want to shout out also, he worked with Keith Jones. Like, he's dope. Like, they amazing team. So I really appreciate them. And I guess, like, cause like what I'm thinking about, like you're saying, like being a member of the African diaspora, being a woman, being a person living with disability, that we have so much challenges. And a lot of times, like, I get, like, because I understand, like, we have like challenges and we have obstacles, and I don't, a lot of times I be thinking about, because I don't want to sound like, be like ableist, or sound like the people who said to me, but like my thing is to, like, there comes a times like we need to use the problem to create opportunities for ourselves. And like,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, when do we stop focusing so much on the problems and focus more so on the solution
Solutions.
and like the opportunities those problems create for us?
Not only the opportunities, but also the opportunities that can help set us free
Right.
in all types of ways, whether it's through mind, body, financially, whatever.
Yes, 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 I totally agree. And I just think like we are living in like a amazing time, because like, like, you heard about Andrea Levant. She was the
Yes.
first physical disabled black woman on the red carpets for the Oscar. And that inspired me. I'm like, I want to win an Oscar, and I'm going to win the Oscar. And then Leroy Moore and Keith Jones, and I think the other one, his name is Gregory or Damon. They won 2 Emmys for the song that
Mm-hmm.
they did for Crip Camp, which Crip Camp didn't really highlight the black people that was
They did
in
not
with
at
the
all.
camp. But we
It's
coming for y'all. I, like, this is amazing time. Hollywood, the world is paying attention. So I'm using it as an opportunity. I'm like, since y'all paying attention, let me put my stuff out there. Let me put my stuff out there so I can win my Oscar.
absolutely. I think we had a great time where they finally recognize our blackness in the disability community. Now we have plenty of opportunities to break out in arts, entertainment, medicine, alternative healing, entrepreneurship, everywhere. It's time to show the world not only look at us, but also we dope too.
Right. Right.
And to he actually brought up a great thing about empowerment. Before I get into that, yes, Crib Camp, I feel should have talked more about how people of color contributed to the disability rights movement, especially the Black Panthers, especially Lomax. Oh my gosh, he was essential to the movement. Yet I didn't really hear his name come up or the other self advocates of color.
Mm.
Matter of fact, I don't think I heard people of color at all besides I think that one director who appears able bodied.
Yeah. And I think cause Andrea Levant, she was a producer on it. Like, cause that's what they was at the Oscars for the Crip Camp. But like, I understand that too. But like, I just feel like it's time for authentic black stories to be told, and black stories to be told that highlight people with disability that's black.
I agree. It's about that time. Speaking of which, the first you was at a you actually hosted the first workshop,
Mm-hmm.
and your workshop was basically actually it's a great one in my opinion, an interesting one because people were expecting a art project, but you actually walked us through experiencing our pain and struggle, and also identifying our prejudices. And you pretty much gave us an insight more into how ableism and racism and sexism affects not only our everyday lives, but also our soul. And I guess the best way I could put it, I don't know how I could put it, is can you walk me through um the workshop that took place on that Saturday and how you believe that impacted people, or what did you want people to walk away from that workshop?
Okay, so like I wanted to, cause like again, thank you for the opportunity. Like, cause I wanted to think about, like, we could have did like a art something, like we are artists and stuff, but I wanted to do something that correlates with what I'm of how I present my art, because like I call myself a self-expressionist. I like I'm really into like psychology and like the human brain and
Mm-hmm.
thinking why people do the things they do. So I want to bring that aspect of art, because I don't think people think of like everything that we do is art, because I see like everything we do is art. So like
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do a workshop to first like walk people through the different definitions of different types of racism, different types of violence, ableism, so people can have these concepts, these ideas already embedded in their mind. And then I created like a little game called Guess My Experience, where like it's kind of like it's a play off of charades, like where you have to think of like a event that you experience either with racism or violence, and how ableism is added onto it, and you assign a sound to it, a body gesture, and a word, and you use that to help people to guess like what your experience is, and to like,
Mm-hmm.
and then afterwards to have the dialogue about it. So like I just want to try something new, like play a game. Like how could, because I was thinking about how could I do a workshop that's kind of like that got a game to it, that's kind of informative and fun for people.
And to be honest, that is art itself, the art of conversation. But even without the pun, art of conversation, it still really is art, because part of arts is using what's available to express ourselves. And we had the human voice for the longest. So your work is a all for it, even if it's, I mean, I know you do a lot more things, but even if it's not painting a picture, taking a picture, or dancing or video, record yourself, the fact that you enabled people in that workshop to use their creativity to not only get others to guess their experience, but also to put it in a creative way, is art itself. I would like to point out that I appreciate that session because I actually written a poem. It's on, of course, it's unfinished like everything else. Can I read it to you real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Um, Another thing, you gotta love technology. Cause now you can read off the phone. You couldn't do that months ago. Okay, so my poem that I written based on your workshop and it's for you also. It's called the Charles Brown curse.
Oh.
And it goes like this. One of my uncles told me of this trait that passed down to all the males in the Charles Brown family tree. I definitely a Brown, by the way. Don't let my last name fool you. But anyways, every generation possess at least 1 to 3 men who are handsome, quick-witted, entertaining, Renaissance man, and confident. Recipes for ladies' men, lover boys, and players.
Oh.
Those men can get female attention anytime they want. Women in all flavors and varieties. We are the envy of men in our neighborhood. The ones our buddies want to emulate or play a hate, whichever one is more convenient. But at some point, they all went through custody issues, domestic violence, isolation, or manipulation. I am that latest man to possess the Joe Star like legacy. I got the charm and physical attraction from both mom and dad. To the viewers, I am that handsome, quick witted, entertainment, confident Renaissance man. Throw neurodiversity, throw neurodiversity, grizzly teddy bear frame, geekery, inspirational success story, and blackness in there, and you get exotica, the ideal person for any gender. Like the typical brown Charles male, I have my share of admirers.
Oh.
I created the next superstar as a result of the union of one. Yet I am cursed. But why? I'm all that partners will want. I am creative. I am loyal. I am truthful on most days. I am supportive. I am a listener. So where does the curse lie in this case? I'm targeted for my uniqueness. And as much as I have a Walter Payton mentality, I am hurt by my experiences.
Ah.
Yes. So the reason why I wrote that poem is because it brought out how, as a Black autistic
Mm.
male, I had to go through not only prove that I'm Black enough for my peers and capable enough, but also it's a double-edged sword being a sexual being.
Yeah, yeah.
It it is like for one thing, I'm naturally attractive, I believe.
You
To
are.
stop it, fire, stop it. I mean, we gotta talk on camera if you want to go further, but I'm shut up right now.
But no, like I think it's all about like you put in like the curse, like how you feel about yourself and the energy that you put out. Cause I say like, cause like being around you, like you do have like a protective energy, like the masculine energy. You look out for people, make sure people good, and you very, like you said, loyal, trustworthy and stuff. But then you have your moments, like we all, and
Yep.
I mean, hey, you be living your best life, and that's all that matters.
That's true, but at the same time, it's like my same qualities that makes me live my best life also bites me in the ass sometimes to certain people, whether it's people not understanding my disability, people not understanding how I see the world, or maybe things that I did wrong, that I admit I'm wrong. I don't know. It's just going back to being mindful that as much as I like to know that I am for somebody, I also know there is a risk because of the ableism, the racism, and even the sexualization that I
Mm.
go through, especially the fact that even my size alone, I'm built like a football player. So that's a turn on for some folks, but that's also a threat. Also, especially when I speak my mind.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
I think, yeah, I,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's completely, cause like I was watching this documentary. I forget the name of the guy who was by, but it was in a festival, and he did it on Mike Brown, and then they was talking about like how he's like built, he's tall, and he's like more like he's solid, and how that's seen as a threat, and then
Mm-hmm.
and as like cause like I would say like as like a black woman, even though I sometimes I feel like I pain is unheard, but I still recognize what black men go through of like being seen as a threat, and just hearing about what happens to Tamir Rice, like just
Mm-hmm.
12-year-old boy playing in the park, minding his own business, and within 5 seconds the cops coming up and shoot him. Like so, like I think within the black community, and like there's different sectors and things that we need to talk about. But as black men and women, we just need to have a conversation that like we are different, and
Mm-hmm.
all have different challenges. And even though my challenges don't look like yours, doesn't mean mine is worse than yours. But and I just think as a black woman, it's like it's time for our what we've been through, our pain to be heard because it's been silenced for too long.
Absolutely. And I think even if we go through different stuff as black men and women with disabilities, I still think that we need to unite together. That's because at the end of the day, we have similar things that we all need to address, and we also need to learn each other better
Yeah,
so that we could be a united front, and it could be even understand each other from an intellectual level, sensual, sexual, spiritual, whatever. Because I think that's where it starts, understanding each other as opposed to exploit each other.
yeah, because I will admit like there are some toxic black women that, and I think as like as a black woman we want to be safe, feel safe and protected by a black man. We need to create a safe and safe environment for black men, and I feel how because we both as black men and women we protect and provide for each other differently. Like it for like a black man you might be more like physically with the strength, but as like a woman have the emotional need, the more nurturing, the more spiritual thing, and just like understanding to have a safe space for you to like feel safe and feel vulnerable. Cause I
Mm-hmm.
admit, like it's scary out here. Like you mentioned, like cause your size, like you built like a football player, and somebody can take that the wrong way. That's real.
Mm-hmm. That is real. Or at the same time, because they see my autism, they be like, yes, TJ ain't gonna do nothing until they hear me speak. Then they
Exactly.
back
But
away.
yeah, what was that name? With the with one some I know you got Stephon Watts, but it was another one. I think he had like a like an invisible disability, and he was trying to ask for help, and the cops just shot him.
Latonia Legrier,
Yeah,
and not only him, but also his neighbor, which that is bogus. I mean, I know we get into the subject, but it is just bogus how we seek mental health, but the minute we trying to seek mental health, we get killed for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So and like I said, like with all these problems that we have, it's giving us an opportunity to make solution and to make the world a better place.
Absolutely. Speaking about making a what a better place, I hear you have a business where you use your art and healing to empower Black women, especially Black women with disabilities, or even Black women with TBI or similar experiences. Remy, can you tell? Would you like to talk to? Would you like to tell us more about your business and how you use your art forms and your healing experience is an art form too, to not only empower Black women with disabilities and Black women in general, but also to promote racial equity and healing among the disability community, but also in our communities in general.
Yeah. Well, okay, so my business is called Black Girl Fire, which is a creative experience company that provides a platform for the misunderstood, unheard, and unseen by turning their trauma into healing experiences through art and storytelling. While my main focus is Black women, because I'm a Black woman and I understand our plight so heavily, but I'm all for work with like people of like women of color, people with disabilities, the LGBTQ community, and plus, like, but anybody that feels marginalized, because like I know what it feels like to be unheard, unseen, and misunderstood. And I know what it feels like, and I feel like why like my accident happened to me is for me to learn how to use art as a healing tool and for me to help others to share this gift with people, because so many times we feel alone, we feel like nobody don't understand, and while we suffering separately, but we be going through the same thing, and we just need to create like a safe space for us
Mm-hmm.
all to come together. And like I use like because my work is rooted in Afro surrealism and Afrofuturism. So I first used Afro surrealism to understand how trauma affected a person's current state, like why they are the way they are. Then I use Afrofuturism to think of and to create alternative realities for them to heal in. So like I do this on different scales, like cause I'm also have skills of being like a project manager and a creative director, and I do some other things like I'm a filmmaker, I'm a writer, I model, I do a lot of different things. But Black Girl Fire gives me an opportunity to pour all my assets and my skills into one thing and to help people to create artistic healing experiences for them. Yeah.
Mm. In a nutshell, if you need healing, if you want a alternate um, reality or future or healing from reality, fire got you.
In that order.
Absolutely. And I I mean Afro surrealism, I actually never heard of that before until now, but it's definitely a great concept because it helps address the oppressions that we go through as Black folks. And then you add Afrofuturism, which I am personally a fan of. And I think that's where my personal work is rooted in, just to create more opportunities and alter the realities for ourselves as not only empowerment but also a healing mechanism, and also a way to have your own Black joy.
Right. Because I'm not gonna lie, because I'm a big fan of Afrofuturism, because I didn't know what Afro surrealism is until like, because I'm working on a film right now. And then I'm thinking about like, because I had came across Afro surrealism. And then I'm like, and I started thinking about my work. I'm like, my work is rooted in both Afro surrealism and Afrofuturism, because you got to understand the current state and how the past affects something in order to create the future. That's like in the African like context, that the past, present, and future is in time is one and the same. It's an
Mm-hmm.
ever like ever looping cycle.
I agree with you. And you, especially your philosophy on Afro surrealism and Afrofuturism, also reminds me of the Sankofa bird, where basically it's a concept of looking back to move forward. And we need to look back at our current and past situation to get a better understanding of what's going on now, and get a better understanding of how to move forward as a people, as opposed to just keep looking forward, or backward in one long plane. But instead, for your work, in lack of better words, you create like a multi-dimensional realm where we are able to hop back and forth in time to understand ourselves and to empower ourselves. I think that's why, me personally, I like the concept of time traveling, because you get to learn the past, not change it per se at that moment, but apply the lessons for the past to make a future that would be better than the future that we headed into. We
Mm.
such we such nerds.
Yeah, I mean, like, cause I come to realize I'm like, I am like an art nerd. Like, I like science, like, but yeah, yes, I am. I come to realize that's who I am, because I notice like when I'm around certain people and my mind isn't being stimulated, because I like to have like well thoughtful conversations. I like the different points. I like to explore and just to create something through conversation. And if people don't want to have it, I get like bored. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's plenty ways to be turned on, and having strong intellectual and spiritual conversations, it's a not only a turn on, but also it's pleasurable as well. And if you're not getting that need filled, then not only you can be bored, in my opinion, but also you be disconnected to some folks.
yeah. I mean, because like everybody isn't for you. You gotta find your tribe, and 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 that's why I said like, cause I had to learn like not to take things so personal, and to understand like what people say about me is a reflection of how they feel and what they going through, and it's none of my business, because I know who I am at the core. Cause I've been doing a lot of growing and healing ever since 2020, and like really working on myself and to understand things, because like I used to be angry. I used to laugh
Mm.
out on a lot of things, but I had to realize like that's not even like my problem. Like I just need to focus on me because like I'm still working towards like attaining my independence, like getting my own apartment and finger crossed that I will get my apartment by July 31st. So I got my eyes on this place. It's right off the beach. Um
Oh, so I'm going swimming with you one of those days.
oh, you can. It's right off the beach. So yeah, it's out south in the South Shore, like neighborhood. So like I'm just putting it out there, cause like I like things, cause I've been working on it. I've been counting down the days, but things have been working and coming to fruition and stuff. So I'm just happy and I'm letting go of things that no longer serve me because I'm not willing to make myself feel uncomfortable, overwork, and stress for somebody else. Yeah,
I
it's all
understand
about me right now.
completely. I understand completely. I mean, our our worth before others. We got to make ourselves happy.
Yeah, and it's all about creating healthy boundaries.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And I do have one more thing to ask before wrapping things up. But if you want to say something to all the artists with disabilities doing the similar work that we do, how can disabled, deaf, autistic, or neurodivergent artists, especially if they're of color, can use their talents in art form to promote racial healing in their communities, whether it's throughout Chicago or Illinois or outside of Illinois, even.
Yeah, I would say like it all begins with you. It all begins with the person. Like first you need to figure out what you want to say. You need to figure out your motion, your mission and the story and the message that you want to send out to people, and then like and through that you will start to attract your tribe, your community that you can build with. And a lot of times I would just say don't focus on the naysayers, focus on the people who's willing to build with you, who's willing to
Mhm.
create with you. And like that's what we need to focus on, because there's always going to be haterade, the haters and all that good stuff, but but use that to let that push you to move you forward in your success.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
We
just
got to find our tribes.
yeah, and I just want to put out and just remember, take it one step at a time and remember to be kind and gentle to yourself as you're doing this work, because this isn't easy work.
Always. That's a mic drop right there. All right. So, how can people who are not familiar with your work could follow you? Do you have like a website or social media handles that people could follow you and your work?
Yeah, okay, so I did have a website, but Mercury retrograde destroyed it. So I need to put that,
Whoa.
yeah, Mercury retrograde, it just ended on the 22nd. That that yeah, yeah, so I got to start it all over. But people can follow me on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok at Black Girls. It is spelled Black is spelled BLAQ underscore GURLZ, and you can find me that on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and then on Twitter and what's And YouTube, you can follow me at Black Girl Fire, which is spelled Black is spelled BLAQ. Girls is spelled GURLZ. And then fire is spelled FYA. It's all Ebonics over here. It's like it's
Uh-huh.
a black dialogue. It's our culture, and I'm taking ownership of that shit. And I'm fuck white supremacy and ableist. I talk how I do, and I feel that too.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't let me bring out my little bit of my southernness that I'm still holding on to.
Good, because I'm all for people being first true to who they are. Cause there's too many
That
people trying to be like other people. That shit boring and dead.
absolutely. Who wants to be the same born person if you could be yourself and more interesting?
Right. And that's what it's all about. And I feel like that's what we're moving into. And just like I am more excited, because I will admit one good thing that's happening with the Black community, they are talking about more about mental health,
Oh, yes, they are. I'm glad.
which is a good thing. We still got some work to do, but I see the progression and I'm happy with where we're moving to.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's been a great conversation, Fire. I personally appreciate the workshop that you gave us. I also appreciate that the conversation we had about your work in particular, but also tying Afro surrealism, Afrofuturism, disability, and many aspects of your philosophy and personality into your art, and essentially using your art to empower people, especially Black girls with disabilities, or Black girls in general. So as always, I'll look forward um, with more of your work. You know, I got you.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I thank you for the opportunity and thank you for sharing your point with me. And I appreciate you for all that you do too.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Well, folks, that's all that we have for today. I wish we could talk all day, but then that'll be like a 24-hour filming instead of an hour, just about. So I want to make sure y'all get back to you all's day. But I appreciate you all supporting the Healing Illinois initiative, whether it's the art and conversation series, the workshops, and the post event interviews. And we are looking to interview more of the featured artists. So stay tuned for more videos. But until then,
Peace
be
out.
great.
It's been real.
Peace out. All right, y'all. Take care.